Hello everyone and welcome to a Building Towards the Future video for supports. In this video we will be discussing how future tanks and healers can prepare for their future job properly, mainly through weapons and medals. So stay tuned everyone and enjoy the video. Guardians, the tanks of the game. Their main objective is to survive and provide buffs for the team. They are the insurance of the game because they simply prevent the fight from not ending because they do not die. If you have one on your team, feel free to be safe because the fight will not end unless the enemy is defeated. So the proper way to prepare for a Guardian in the future is having an Osiris spear or hammer. Preferably, I like to use a spear because I get more defensive stats and HP from a spear, but hammer provides a little bit more magic defense, so pick your choosing. I went with the spear because I got a spear, so I'll work with that. I do not recommend Jade because even though it's a light weapon and it's the only light Osiris that you can use, it did not give stats for equipping it even though it's light. Also, later on you'll get an Athena Light Aegis if you are lucky enough, and that will replace Jade because that is the only light Osiris Athena weapon that you can use while getting the full stats for the weapon. So anything after that, Eclipse Spear is pretty good as well, it gives physical defense. Aside from that, every other weapon is pretty lackluster right now, so I wouldn't recommend getting them. It's hard to build a proper Guardian right now because all Osirises that isn't Jade are hard to work with because most weapons are dark or light in the game currently. Medals to work on: Castle Revelation. This can be found behind Barakin in Grasslands in his chest. Pretty hard to fight it. There's a gimmick right now on how to do it in the Reddit section. You can find a guide on how to do that. It's not that hard after you figure out how to do it, but it's pretty tedious to farm it because it's RNG based. Another medal you can work on is Living Guardian. The chest is found next to Logi in Mountains. Another difficult fight, farm that when it's raining. Once you get that, it's the best medal for Guardians, so if you get that, you're good to go. I'll explain later on why Living Guardian isn't one of the best, but it's still really good for Guardians. So stay tuned to that. Clan Mandra, self-explanatory, HP buffs and damage limit boost, very good to have. Marvel Works and Angel, the budget version of Living Guardian. However, they are more flexible to other elements because you're not locked into light like Living Guardian. So get those if you guys can. Every other medal, if you guys have the opportunity, farm them all. They give permanent stats. However, if you want to prioritize just passives alone, I work with HP, physical defense, and magical defense. Get those stats and you're good to go. Now currently in the game, if you have an Osiris, you're pretty much good to go for later. But Osiris isn't really mandatory because most weapons don't work with Osiris later that you'll stack with because you'll be spamming a lot of HP buffs. So Osiris is really good to have, but you really don't need it later on. It's just there to help you a bit. You get Athena later, Shivering Cry, one of the best lance and shields right now in Japan. Basically what this weapon does is it gives an HP buff that cannot be removed at all by any extinction waves or any of that jazz. Steel Spirit, Doc Shield, the one that you see on the front cover of the Guardian screen. Another good shield to have. Basically what this weapon does is it comes in two elements, light and dark. So if you have the light version, every element that is not dark takes 0 damage from, or reduced damage from it to all players on the field. However, dark will still hit. And if you get the dark version, the opposite of that, every element that isn't light will be reduced damage or receive a 0. I think it's 0 though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 0. And let's see, there's the Gem Series Lance and Shield, Onyx, Emerald, and Topaz. Very good shield. Think of this as the more flexible version of Living Guardian. Again, this is why I said Living Guardian isn't mandatory. because on the Gem Series, Lance and Shield basically heals and reses all players on the field, which is very nice to have. Valkyries. Valkyries are the healers of the game. Main objective is to survive, heal, and provide useful buffs such as HP and quick territory for the team. They are one of the sustaining forces in large-scale fights, as they dictate the pace of the fights through proper healing and speed and resurrections. Weapons needed for later: Osiris Jade, the only Osiris that can carry through later on to a Valkyrie that still heals the entire team. Living Guardian, another great weapon to have. If you have one, you can basically resurrect your team forever as long as you're alive. Eclipse Scepter, who doesn't like quick territory, speed, and cooldown reduction, is really good for the team. Very nice to have. It will be replaced later with the Gem Series, but for the meantime, it's still very good to have. Butterfly Scepter, a great weapon to have because these are the greatest burst healing weapons in the game. I prioritize getting Black and Silver because they prevent Seal and Curse, which are very important to make sure you don't get hit by later on. White isn't mandatory because later on most bosses will just poison all your weapons, so you need anti-poison seals or anti-poison medals, consumables instead. Medals to work on, as stated earlier: Castle Revelation, Clan Mandra, Living Guardian if you don't have one is very good to have, so carry those. Great medals, great support medals. They will last you for a very long time. Plus they can be farmed right now, so go at it. For crystals, later on you guys can look forward to is Athena Carillion, which is the scepter version of Athena. Very nice. They can work with multi-elements, so think of it as a jade, but a jade with multiple elements. Immunity Wing, very good for niche areas. These are basically the upgraded version of elemental maces. Very good. Niche areas, they are guaranteed guards for magic damage, so very nice. Gem Series Scepter, again said earlier, like Topaz, Emerald, and Onyx. These are the crucial main weapons of Valkyries. Max these out. These are the upgraded version of Eclipse Rod because not only do they provide quick territory, they give crit up and elemental up as well. And if you guys want to have the option to get Graham and Shrine Sword, these are optional tier 4 weapons. Very unique. They provide their own special buffs. As long as it's not clan wiped, they are one-time use, so remember that. Tier 4 weapons are one-time use, but they are very strong if you put them in fights where they cannot be buff wiped. Skilling up priorities. As of now, guys, if you have skill ups from clan trials or however you got them, save them. They aren't needed right now. For Guardians, I recommend you guys do the Gem Series first. Max those healing and resurrection weapons. Shivering Cry next, which basically is the thing I told you guys about. The non-removable HP buffs for the whole team. And after that, you can do whatever you want. You can do Athena if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. You can do the 0 damage shield, the Dark Shield, the Steel Spirit, however you want to call it. You can do those. Indra, damage limit to all teammates. That's really good as well. And so forth. Valkyries, again, Gem Series, the bread and butter of Valkyries. Max those out. If you want to flex with other elemental builds for Valkyries, do Graham next or Shrine Sword. And after that, it's optional. You can do damage limit, hammer, elemental wings, whichever you guys want. Your preference. Do whatever you guys want. So both classes are meant to support. However, Valkyries tend to be needed a bit more than Guardians because of quick territory. Yes, Guardians are able to heal and resurrect as well, but they don't have that quick territory. However, they do give Shivering Cry that unremovable HP buff, which is very nice. However, Guardians are still very important later on in the future, guys. Don't get me wrong, they are great. So at the end of the day, guys, both classes are very much needed. So some general tips, guys, is to stack tankiness as a healer or tank. For me, I use both Guardian accessories for both classes. Even though healers can work with Valkyrie accessories. I like the defensive bonus from Guardian accessories, so I focus on that. Maxed out Divine Armor and Gloves. They are the only endgame gear right now that provides both elemental resistance for having both equipment on. So if you're up against Earth monsters, slap on the Wind Divine and Wind Gloves. Best defense for both gear slots. Fire, put on Water, same thing. Great to have. Max those out as soon as possible, guys, and you'll be good for taking on in-game content. You can stack elemental damage for boost if you guys want. So if your most supports right now, like Guardians and Valkyries, stack light. Focus on light, stack those. A little bit more healing, which is very nice to have. So outside the HP, physical defense, and magical defense, you guys can stack a little bit at light or whatever element if you're choosing. Good to go. And remember, guys, never die. Try to stay alive as long as possible. Survivability is key for supports. So that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, this is not a DPS video because I don't main DPS. I play a lot of support. So these are the general key tips I would recommend you guys to prepare for in the future when you want to become a very strong Guardian or a very strong Valkyrie. Keep these in mind, guys. Great classes later on in the future to support an entire team. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.